Hey there, how's it going? Welcome to Dominion 6. My name's Mew. This time around, I'm going to be playing a multiplayer game set in the early age, and I'll be playing as Ur. This video will be the intro for this series, and in this video, I'm just going to talk a little bit about Ur, as well as the god that I chose, scales that I chose, and the bless that I chose. And the next video going up in this series will be turn 1 to 3. So if you just want to see gameplay, wait for that one. Otherwise though, let's just go take a look at Ur, shall we? Ur, the first city. Here we are. A couple of things right off the bat. First of all, I hate saying this word, Ur. Sometimes I just pronounce it as Yor, because it's kind of funny and also easier to say. My accent doesn't exactly pronounce the letter R very strongly, so Ur is just kind of awkward to say. But Ur, the first city, here we are. Second thing, the dudes themselves, the Enkidu. These are some cool looking dudes, right? Look at this bozo. These are such great looking characters. I love them. They are primitive wild men. Yeah, I'll say. Right then. We have a pretty large number of things that we can recruit. A lot of them are terrain specific though, or outside of fort and terrain specific, so mostly it's just the stuff on the left that we'll be recruiting. Other than that, anything interesting about this nation before we start? They can, what is it? It's good at recalling dead god. Yeah, they have, some of their guys have the Elogist ability that makes them really good at calling back gods. Also, when you call your god back, he doesn't lose any magic skills. Now that's useful if you plan on getting your god killed. Most people don't plan on getting their god killed though, so it's kind of a nice benefit at the times when you don't really want it to have happened, but there we go. I do know that there's one player who's... In fact, I've still got that video on my channel, haven't I? There's a guy named Jay who did a game featuring Ur and made use of their recall god not losing magic skills gimmick to tame horrors and win a game. I'll put a link to that video if you're curious about that. But anyway, generally speaking, not the most useful ability because most people don't plan on getting their god killed, but it's there anyway. Besides that, nothing that really stands out. I prefer heat scales. They get order and heat limits increased on their scales, which is something I suppose. Nice magic, nature, earth, water, air, and some death. Yeah. So let's go through all the units then, just look at what we're dealing with here. First up, Scout, 40 gold, 40 stealth. Sure. Enkidu Elders. These are interesting units. These are very cheap. I'll probably only recruit these when I don't have anything better to do with a fort though. But you can park them in provinces. They collect tax for you, but they count as a fort for collecting tax. I wonder if that counts for gems as well, that would be useful. Maybe not. And they also have the defense organizer ability. So they naturally just gradually increase your province defense up to 19, which is cool. It'd be nice to have a few of these guys just walking around, bumping up important provinces to 19 PD for free. Why not? Probably not going to make a huge amount of difference to your economy, but I mean, they only cost 20 gold to get out. They can lead some stuff around for you too. Not very inspiringly, but, you know. I don't know many other nations that get that ability, so it's cool. Enkidu Commander, basic dude, looks funny, love it. And that's it for the regular commanders, everything else is a mage or a priest or both. So we only really get one type of leader. So no big morale leaders for this nation. Unless the priest leaders, actually you guys are probably quite good leaders, aren't you? Yeah. Anyway, mages. So we start with a Gala. These aren't the most useful mages. They are the only priests we can recruit with Elogist, I think, except maybe besides the cap dudes. No, not even the cap dudes. So if you want to make use of that Elogist ability, the only people that can really make use of it are the Galas. So they count as H3, I think, for the purposes of calling back a dead god. Yeah. So, I mean, that's pretty useful, but again, you probably don't really want to plan to get your god killed, but I suppose if you're taking risks with them, maybe it's useful, I don't know. I think in general you're only going to recruit these mages if you're really, really tight on gold, right? They don't really do much besides that. They do have this brand new ability, Grand Communicant. When the game started, this game, the Ur game started, this ability wasn't in the game, and then halfway through the game there was a patch that added this. So I don't really know much about it. Apparently when you cast a global, you can just plug a bunch of grand communicants in. And I think it counts to the overcast value. Only global spells or dispels are affected. That's interesting. I hadn't thought about dispelling. That might be kind of useful. Because there's a bunch of new spells now, aren't there, that dispel elemental globals. And this nation has lots of earth and air, although not very high level. But maybe we can make use of that, I don't know. Also, Spell Sing is interesting. So they cast more slowly, but they generate less fatigue. Do all of our mages have that? I don't think so, no. The Gauls are quite unique. They have this ability that nobody else has, and they have this ability that nobody else has. But not very powerful mages in their own right. 105 gold? Okay. Then Salmaze. Bit better. I mean, they have Water 1 and Nature 1. They don't have Elegist or Spellsinger. Also Grand Communicants, though. They are only 35 gold more expensive, and you get 2 more research. Don't really have much to say. I guess you'd rather have these out. But you'd probably rather have these guys out instead, right? Anything else special about you? Neither of you can lead anything. Both have pretty average stats. 14 magic resistance. Not much to say, pretty low paths. You can't do much with Nature 1 and Water 1 anymore, can you? Is Water 1 enough for Frozen Heart spam? Maybe. Let's move on to the real mages though. Gudus. Okay. These guys are all either E2 or A2. That's a bit better. A2 can do a bunch of stuff. In a Storm they're all A3, which is nice. Although, I'm not sure we can naturally put up a Storm. E2 can do a bunch of Earth buffs. These guys are really good for... I mean, all the cool alteration and evocation stuff in Earth and Air is really good, isn't it? E2 can also easily put up Summon Earth Power, get to E3, and put down all the armor buffs in construction and all that stuff. Yeah, nice workhorse mage. 220 gold, 9 research. They don't have any special abilities really, except the Grand Communicant that everyone else has. Pretty cool though. Probably going to mostly recruit these guys out of non-cap forts. And probably the cap fort as well. Next up we have the Ishib. These guys are... I mean, they have the same national paths that we've seen, but they come with water too. They're also better priests. So if you need some water magic, we have these guys. Also not too bad. Water 2 lets you make all the boosters for water. So, boost up these guys if you've been recruiting them, I suppose. Again, no other special abilities though. 275 gold. I mean, nothing we have to recruit that is like terribly expensive, right? To get to these things, I mean, the big cap mages are a bit expensive, but... yeah, I mean, nice. We have a nice selection of evocation and alteration stuff in all these paths. And do all the nice nature buffs and water and earth and air buffs on people. Pretty cool. Not much else to say besides that. N2s. Okay, so these last 2 mages are our cap onlys. They're both H3, which is cool. So we can very easily have Smiters or Divine Blessers, which is nice. The N2s come with E2, N1. NCs come with W2, N1. Otherwise they are both, I think, the same. You have a 100% pick of air, water, earth, or nature. You have a 100% pick of air, water, earth, or nature, yeah. So they're both the same. The only other difference is the leadership, I think. And the armor. You come with 10 prot with a crown and a bronze cuirass. The N2 is naked. So there we go. I don't think these are as useful as our other mages though. They don't really give us anything particularly special. If we want an N2, we can get one of these guys. Hope they come with nature and that'll be fine. Otherwise, we can already get an water mage out. We can already get an earth mage out. So the big selling point is that they come with Holy 3, I think. These are also 4 rec points, so they're very slow to recruit. I do know that Ur has some special events associated with these mages. You need to have a pair in your cap, or you get bad events. But I'm not sure exactly how it works. Ur is one of those nations that I've seen in lots of games. I know that they're like a... well, I think of them as like an earth and nature nation. But I guess that's because of the out of cap guys. These guys, yeah. I know Ura tends to be quite strong in the early mid game and then like falls off really hard. But that's what I kind of think of when I think of Ura. I don't really know much besides that though. I'm pretty sure they get some kind of capital event related to these mages. The game has already started, it's like halfway through. I don't think I've actually seen that event take place even once, so I'm not sure exactly. Maybe I'm misremembering. Are you inspiring? Inspirational +2 with 10 leadership. That's odd. Very strange. Yeah, anyway, there's the mages. I mean, yeah, we have a nice wide variety of magic. We can do lots of things that we need to do. Water, earth, and earth seem the easiest for us to get from our fort mages. But yeah, we also have some out-of-fort stuff, so this is a bit more interesting. We can get leaders out of every province we conquer. That's nice. These guys are beastmasters too. Good at leading animals. If we find a swamp, we can get Bone Tribe Dude. So these are identical to the Bone Tribe independents you can recruit, except they're Enkidu versions. So we've got the leader, who's like a berserker. We've got this leader, who's also a berserker. What? Maybe they're different, I don't know. Oh yeah, these guys come with the big skull club. These are the Bone Tribe guys. Plus 4 berserkers with the skull club. And also the headhunt, also the bone readers. So I think these are just the same as the... Or maybe not, because the Bone Tribe independents come with an air pick, right? I'm pretty sure. So maybe they're not identical. I could be wrong though. We have Fortune Teller. In the game that we're in, we never actually find a swamp, so... at least not yet. So I never actually got to play around with these guys. But yeah, technically we can get into death. These guys potentially come with D2, which gets you into death quite well. Let you make a skull stick. So if we find a swamp, we get those 3 dudes. If we don't find a swamp, we can still recruit these outside of all of our forts. So any province that we slap a... that we don't put a fortress in, we can recruit these, as long as we build a lab. So we always have extremely good nature earth mages to recruit from any province we want, as long as we get a lab up. They'll always take 2 turns to recruit, because you can't have a fort in the province, and they have 2 rec point costs, so... yeah, these are extremely good mages though. They have the potential to come with, what, E4 if you're lucky? N5 if you're lucky? Yeah, I mean these guys can lay down all of the... You've had 10% of death as well. I've never seen that, I don't think. Yeah, these guys can do all of the big earth and nature buffs for you though. They can also forge some nice nature boosters for you, thistle maces. So it's pretty easy to have some N5 guys walking around with your armies. You just need to get a nature pick on one of these guys, make a thistle mace. And then, because they have earth and nature, they can also put up, whatever it's called, Strength of Gaia in combat, which also boosts nature magic. So just randomly having a bunch of N6 mages in your armies is quite doable with these guys. Which is cool. I'm not sure what the big nature spells are that take advantage of that. I'm told that Breath of the Dragon is quite good because it scales really well and does armor negating poison damage. Yeah, but these things are sick. They're very expensive though, 385, and unlike all of our other mages, they are not sacred, so they have full upkeep costs as well. So they're a bit expensive, but I mean they're really sick. We also have underwater recruits. I didn't even realize until halfway through the game. So we are actually able to build underwater fortresses and get underwater recruits. So more water magic for us. H2 with water 1. Another non-sacred mage that can potentially do water 3. It technically gets you into astral, I guess, but astral 1 I don't know what you're going to do with. I think that's enough to do arcane probing though, right? And the Kulitu Queen. Yeah. So, I mean, we have a wide selection of mages that we can recruit from different places with different paths. All in all, lots of nice magic. I don't think the Enkidu chassis is particularly good, though. They're just big dumb guys with pretty average stats. So, let's look at the units then. Soldier. Okay. Big dumb guys with average stats. They do hit pretty hard, I suppose. I mean, a 20 damage slashing weapon is no joke. Only length 1 and only 11 attack skill, but you know, armor's not much to write home about either. 7 protection. Spear guard, even lower attack and lower damage, but a longer weapon. Also, still not very good armor. Yeah, these guys are a bit goofy, aren't they? They are reasonably cheap. And the Uragard. So again, they do hit pretty hard when they hit you. 12 attack for this guy. Also castle defense bonus, that's quite nice. But other than that, yeah, quite average stats, aren't they? These aren't exactly powerhouse units, but they are pretty chunky. And we can lay down lots of buffs on them. Hornblower. Sure, always nice to have a standard unit. Slap these into your armies. And we have 2 sacred units as well. Okay, so Enki's Chosen. Still pretty similar to the other stuff we've seen. They are bodyguards, and other than that, they're just sacred. No other special abilities. I mean, the stats aren't bad, are they? 11 protection, 12 out, 12 defense, 13 out with a 21 damage hatchet. I mean, yeah, they're nice units. They do have 6 encumbrance, which is dreadful. Since we are a nature nation, we can put it relief at least. But I don't think it's worth investing too much of a bless on these guys. I don't think they're terribly, like, deadly sacred units, but I could be wrong. Yeah, I don't really have much to say about these guys. They're just, you know, they're pretty average, you know? They do have lots of hit points, but other than that, they're just average dudes. Hit pretty hard. You can only get 2 of them on a square, though, since they're size 5, so that's something to be aware of. Yeah. Generate 6 encumbrance, okay. And Mushusus. So we can recruit 1 of these each month if we want to. These are more interesting as far as sacred units go. They do an awful lot of attacks, with pretty good attack skill as well. They have a fear aura, a bunch of poison resistance, and unsurroundable. These would be cool to put a bless on, but since they cost 150 gold each and you only get 1 per month, you can't really mass them in any meaningful amount, can you? I feel like these units are more just, I don't know, not luxury units exactly, but I think you need to have a reason to be recruiting these. Now, since we can put down a bunch of buffs, it would be pretty cool to buff these things up and use them to just stand upright on the front lines. Give these guys Mistform and Regen. They'd probably be pretty annoying, wouldn't they? Give them a bit of Iron Skin or something as well. They would probably tank for quite a long time, and they would all have a Fear Aura as well. So that would be pretty cool, but yeah, just very, very limited in how many you can actually field. Maybe there's a spell that lets you summon them? I haven't actually looked. They are cool units though. Is this death poison? Oh, it is, yeah, as well. So they get the big 35 damage poison if they hit you with the fangs. Full length 0 weapons though. I think that's bad, right? Decent attack skill though. I don't know. People like these units. They feel a bit too restricted and a bit too gimmicky to me. I don't think I recruited many of them so far in the game that I'm in. Okay, so that's the units. These are the ones that are inside the cap. Outside of the cap, we can recruit all of this stuff, though. So these guys are swamp guys again. So yeah, they're just like Bone Tribe. And these guys are underwater. The Kalulu. Kalulu, again, not the best units, but big bags of hit points. What is interesting is outside of our fort, we can get Enkidu archers out of all of our provinces. So a big strong guy with a longbow in early age is actually not that bad. This is a 16 damage, 45 range longbow. And as you can see, they don't really take much to recruit. 16 gold, 7 resources, and 9 rec points. So as long as we find some high resource provinces, we can probably recruit 7 or 8 of these things out of those provinces every turn. Which is, I mean, that mounts up. It's not out of the question that we could have, you know, 200 pretty damaging longbows by the end of the first year. Ready to go and walk at somebody. And since we have air magic and earth magic and nature magic, we could give those longbows increased range, increased accuracy, Give the longbow wielder extra strength for more damage. I think it's half the wielder's strength, yeah. And we can put poison damage on them, so massing longbows seems like a pretty decent strategy, at least early on. And these guys, I mean, they'll stand up a while in combat, right? Especially later on when we can put fog warriors on everybody. They do only wield a stone dagger. But yeah, I mean 24 hit points. They can take at least one punch while they stab back. Full units. Besides that, just some regular light infantry looking dudes. Yeah, so nothing really stands out super well, but you can see how they'd be quite strong early on. Just mass a bunch of cheap units. Got a nice selection of buffs and evocations. Wide variety of magic. Yeah, I've seen lots of people play Ur and get to the mid game. I don't think I've seen anyone really crush in the late game though with Ur, so we'll have to see how we do. Anything else? Let's look at the sites. We get 2 water, 1 earth. Yep. And 3 nature. And recruit Musushus. Alright, there we go then. Ur, the first city. Let me know what you think of them in the comments. They seem alright, don't they? I think this would be a good nation actually for a new player to play. Because they're pretty simple, but they give you like a nice variety of stuff you can do. They might be a bit of a trap because I don't think the sacreds are very good. But yeah, if you're a new player and you want to play a reasonably simple nation that you don't need a bless on, maybe try these guys. That's my verdict anyway. I'll switch over now and show you the god I made, so see you in a moment. And here we are, the god of Ur. We are worshipping a golden lion. Dominion's player named My Dad helped me with this god design. And my dad himself said he got some of the inspiration from Exasperated Cultist. So that's where all this knowledge comes from. I take credit for nothing. I hate making gods. I've been playing this game since Dominion 3 and I don't know. I'm not very good at making gods because, yeah, I only really know about the nations that I've played myself, so it's hard to come up with gods when you don't really... I don't really read any theory about dominions, or I don't play many games. So I know the general stuff, but I don't know stuff specific to nations. So yeah, a lot of times I get help making gods. I think I'll say that because I know a lot of people feel intimidated about playing dominions because they think they need to know all this stuff. You don't, you can just ask someone. I get other people to make my gods all the time. But here we are, God of Ur. Theory behind this guy. Okay, first of all, as you can see, we have very low holy and not much of a bless. So we're pretty much sacking our sacred units. We don't really care much about these guys early on. We're not going to rely on any of these things to expand. We don't care about giving them big blesses or anything. We do have lots and lots and lots of sacred mages, so you could take a mage bless if you wanted. And I guess in some respects this is a mage bless, it's just not a very big one. Inspirational presence means all of our sacred leaders will be very good at leading units. So all of these mages that we're going to recruit early on will be able to shuffle around all of our units for us, which is quite good. Since, yeah, we're leaning heavily on economy here, we're going to want to mass as many junk troops as possible, especially longbows outside of our forts, and whatever we can get basically in our forts. So, first things first, not much of a bless. We are awake though, so we'll be able to expand with this guy. The Golden Lion is a really good expander. He doesn't look super impressive. He's only got some basic single target attacks, only has 13 protection. He does however have 25 invulnerability, which means against independent units, there's not much that's going to, hit him very hard. 25 invulnerable basically means 25 protection against mundane weapons. So for expanding into indies, he's incredibly tanky, and on top of that he also reduces pierce and slash resistance. So he's good against axes and bows even more than that. So really, really strong expander actually. If we get the nature magic early, we can even cast personal regen on him as well. And he has a Fear Aura. So in my test games, the Golden Lion is actually able to expand into pretty much anything. There's almost nothing that can kill this guy. There's almost nothing that can even hurt him. I'm not confident about blind expanding though, because he can get killed by like large amounts of bobs or cavemen or something. who deal blunt damage and also hit very hard. So, you know, a bit risky there. I think in this game I did expand on turn 1, but I brought the troops with me for a bit of chaff. I can't remember exactly, but you'll find out in a second when the other video goes up. But yeah, extremely good expander. I really like this guy. So we can do some very early expansion with this guy, which is very useful because we want to pick up provinces quickly. Because the sooner we can pick up provinces, the sooner we'll get units. A bit different than other nations because we want to find as many high resource provinces as possible to get out as many archers as possible. So every high resource province we pick up lets us recruit, which is pretty cool. And then the big leadership bless means that all of the little baby mages we recruit early on can actually lead around all that junk. So there's some nice synergy there. Scales-wise, yeah, we're just leaning heavily on economy. So Order 2, Prod 2 is nice. Lots of income in our provinces, lots of rec points. Just want to spam those units outside of our fort. Misfortune 2? Why not? We've got Order. We need to dump something to pay for having an awake god. Bit of magic to help us with research. Yeah, not a lot to say about this stuff, really. We're not really aiming to get any big spells up with this guy. We're not really aiming to do anything special, no special bless. It's just an expander with good economy, and then we spam longbows. It's pretty much the early game in a nutshell. Probably going to want to get some tumbles up early, though, because our Dominion score is quite weak. And we do have good skills that we do want to spread, so... Although I think lower Dominion actually makes sure Dominion spread faster early on, right? It's weird like that. I don't know. Ask me how a Dominion works. I have no idea. But I'll probably try and get down some tumbles anyway. Magic-wise, we have 5-5 and Nature 3. We don't really care too much about Nature magic, although, yeah, Nature 3 lets him buff himself. Fire 5 is pretty cool, though. We're going to have lots of longbows, so this guy can put up flaming arrows if we want to. He can also summon flame spirits quite easily. And he can quite easily forge fire boosters as well, although not the death one. But he can make a flame helmet quite easily. So later on, as long as we find some fire gem income, this guy will also let us break into fire quite nicely with flame spirits. And then a flame spirit can just walk around with all of our armies, putting flaming arrows on all of those longbows. So kind of a nice path, I think, to have for us. We don't have any other sources of fire magic. It's one of the only paths we're missing, actually. We have everything else except Glamour and Blood. We also have a national hero that comes with S3. So if we get lucky, which we don't have a lot of, but if we do get lucky, we'll also get into Astral quite nicely too. So we have plenty of good magic access. We should expand quite well. The real stumbling block for us is going to be who our neighbors are. Because best case scenario, we neighbor somebody who is not terribly strong early. I think ideally it would be someone who doesn't have, you know, high armor, shielded units. Something that's going to just wither under Archer Fire would be ideal. But yeah, we'll see how things go. Otherwise, though, I think that's it for the god. There really isn't much to say this time around. He's just a pretty boring, economy-oriented expander. He is named, my opponent is wrong, here's why. So you'll be pleased to know about that. Otherwise, though, I think that's everything for this video, right? Let's think. We've gone over the nation, gone over the god, talked about the minimal bless, scales, magic paths. What more is there to say? I guess make sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment. Is the only thing left to say. And if you enjoy this series or any other series on the channel, please consider joining the Patreon or, you know, the YouTube stuff. And that's it. So, next video going up in this series will be turn 1 to 3. It'll probably be a few days from now. Yeah, I'm a bit late getting a lot of the videos for this series edited and recorded and stuff. I'm recording this quite late into the series. The series is actually in like turn 40 at the moment, so yeah, you know I survive at least that long. Although how strong I'm going to be at that point is remains to be seen. But yeah, I've been very ill for the last month. I'm just catching up on a lot of work and stuff. So these days I was trying to make sure that the intro video goes up at the same time as turn 1 to 3. I'm not sure if that's going to happen this time. It might be a few days from now. But it's coming. The series is coming. I have like 1 billion hours of video to edit now. But, you don't need to worry about that. Just enjoy the series. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in turn 1 to 3.